Hey everybody, welcome to part 3 of the course. Whoop whoop. Alright, so I've told you how to make the Grail in Cinema, how to export it, how to change the interface, like I do always. And well, now we're going to start with the hard work, okay? So our objective when we're working with Cinema 4D is that it might be easier to model that way than it would be with ZBrush. But we can also model with ZBrush if we wanted to. I don't mind your preferences. As I've been saying, the program is going to allow us not just to model and sculpt, it's also going to allow us, it's also included in its latest version, the Zmodeler. Alright? Which is this button right here. And it allows us to model in a more traditional way. Alright? So here we're going to be working with the polygroups. And with this, we're going to be explaining the Zmodeler. So, to start, we're going to mark these boxes right here. And this way, we'll be able to see all of the lines and their positions. Here, for example, we can see that this part is actually quite a little bit, it's missing like a curve, okay? To start correcting this, we need to know how many vertices are in each of these loops. To do this, we're going to have this activated. Okay. So when this is activated, we're going to hold Alt, and that's going to make like a selection of polygons. Okay, we're going to count how many there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 plus 12, 24. We're going to go back. We have 24 polygons on each side. And why did I just count like this? Well, I needed the practice. No, it's because obviously in ZBrush, you can make a symmetry, but you obviously make a circular symmetry, okay? We're going to hit the X key, and you can see I have this on, all right? So if you mark this other box, we make the circular symmetry, okay? In this case, see? So here we would need to put in the number of symmetries that we want and the plane that we're looking for. This one isn't good. This one isn't good. This is we need more symmetries. All right. So let's go to transform, and here we're going to see that this panel is the same as the one right here. I have an interface like this to have everything a little more accessible. So here in radial count, we're going to put in 24. Okay. And in this way, as you can see, we now have 24 symmetries that we can work with. Okay, we're going to grab that move to topological. And now we could move this a little bit so that we get that curve that we're looking for. Okay. Okay, so here we could put, for example, we could add another loop once we have this clear how we've done the symmetry and stuff. Because the cool thing about this is now, well, I'm going to explain this. I'm just going to make a small interruption, okay? So if we soften this quite a lot, like at 3, for example, obviously with that symmetry on, look at all the details we can get. Look at that. Look at that. Crazy. It's crazy, man. So this is the use of making a symmetry. All right, let's go back. We're going to take away the symmetry with the X key, and now we're going to work with the Zmodeler. What is this? Well, it's like I said, a way of modeling in a more traditional way in ZBrush, okay? So here, Zmodeler works with different things: vertices, edges, and polygons. Okay. Each time that we right click or hit the spacebar within one of these elements, we're going to open a different square. For example, if I right click inside the polygon, I'm going to get that interface. It's quite full, as you can see. What I'm going to tell you here is that in this course, we're going to be working on some concrete elements of this, okay? The rest is going to be more experimenting by yourself, playing around with it. Have some fun. Each thing, as you can see, like QMesh would be kind of an extruder. Here we have the extruder, but QMesh works a little differently. So in each polygon action, here there's a target. We only want an extrusion on one single polygon. Okay. So imagine I have QMesh on with right-click QMesh with single poly. Okay. See? We're only going to have this then on one polygon. If I right-click, I hit polygroup border. All right, here we have some polygroups. Sure. Seeing as I only have one polygroup, nothing really happened. But, all right. Moving on. Inside the edge, if I right click, we're going to get another square. This one is smaller, and here I've marked insert. Insert is so that we can insert cuts. Okay, we're going to be using this a lot. For example, maybe we want to cut it and here to add in some details. Well, we insert the cut. Whenever we make a cut, we have to mark the edge, not the polygon. If we mark the polygon, what happens is what we have marked. So we have this marked with QMesh, single poly. All right, we have to be careful with these things. We're going to select from the face. I'm going to put a cut in here, and for example, another one in here. In this way, we're going to be moving along, adding in cuts wherever we think we need to. The more cuts we have, the more definition we're going to have in our model, okay? There we have another one in there. Then we have the point. That's the same thing. Right click on the point, and as you can see, we get another square. In this one, there are less things, to be honest. Each one does something different. I think split or stitch makes a hole. Yeah. Yeah, you can see it here. It's making a hole. It's like my dog. So yeah, if we do this with symmetry on, we'd get the same on both sides. A symmetrical hole. Like a straw. Okay. So once we have the Zmodeler clear and know what we're going to be using most are the QMesh polygroups, okay? I'll explain those later. And the cuts in the edges and insert. Alright, cool. And then like I was saying, within each option we have like insert, and then we have like single edge loop. But if I put it on multiple, we get another window and different parameters to make different cuts. So I can do this and see we get more cuts. And also we get cuts with different polygroups, right? I'm going to explain later what polygroups are. Okay, so I'm going to explain it now. Okay, so polygroups, just so you understand me, are a kind of... Well, when you have an object, for example, and you want to mark this part of the cup so that it's a material, okay, so it's in one material. So to make this part here another material, sometimes we do this, we do things a little easier. For example, this part here, I want to work down here, but this part bothers me. So if this is another polygroup, we can hide and unhide all these parts. Apart from that, we can also, it's not just for material. When we work on an object for an asset for video games or something, we can also use it for VMaps. All right. So we're going to spread the QQVs. These polygroups are also going to make our life super easy. Okay. All right. So to make our polygroups, the colors of the polygroups can be seen here. If I take this away, I can see it pretty much normal. There aren't any polygroups that really stand out. But if I hit here, apart from the lines, I can see more lines. It's not super visible because, well, the color is quite similar to the default one. All right. I'm going to take away the symmetry, right click, and now I can hit polygroups. As you can see, we've marked polygroups on one polygon. And what does this do? Well, if I click here, see, we've made another color on another polygroup. So I can click here, and here I'll make another, and here another. And why do I do this? Well, because I want this part here to be different to the other part of the cup. So I do like this, you know? So I would right click here. As I always say, there's many different options and parameters. If I click on, for example, Polygroup Island, if everything was in one color and this part here was in another, imagine it was like this. So this would be what's known as an island because it's kind of an island. And that's pretty much it. So now if I click on, for example, Polygroup Island instead of just one polygon, we can click here. You can see that it changes color of the whole island. If I click and I hold Alt as well without moving from here, the color just kind of goes along changing. This is good for when we have like a lot of polygroups, just to differentiate the colors. Okay, let's model this a little bit. Let's polish the cup a little bit. As we go along, I'll explain things so you can understand things a little better. All right, so now I have the basic shape and I want to create some more details. Well, how do I do this, right? How do you do this? Got to hire a blacksmith? No. Well, we would hit, for example, Polygroup and then Polyloop, which will go all the way around, all right? So we can click, okay? And now the good thing is, as you can see, it's all in another color, okay? The whole polygroup. This is also like a polygon selection, all right? Like if I right click and I put in a Q mesh instead of a single poly, I could use maybe Polygroup Island. So now I can do this, and you can see that the Q mesh, the extrusion is only on this polygroup. We can do this in different ways. So if I, instead of Polygroup Island, I put in the entire polygroup, like this. It's the same thing. So if down here we had a polygroup, and that was the same color as this one. Here I've activated Polygroup All, and I'm telling it to act in all of the polygroups of this color. All right? So we get the same thing. I would do this, and the ones that are in green would also move. It's crazy, right? As I've said, this is something that you just have to work on. They're all different options. I normally use Polyloop, Polygroup All, Island, Single Poly. But then you have more specific ones like the quads. All right, we're just gonna be using polygons, just polygons that are triangles. Oh no, that's another option. So we have to go along studying and training each one individually. All right, so we said that we would do this like this. Okay, we could do something else. We could, for example, okay, let's activate. Let's activate that symmetry. But I want there to be less numbers. So we're going to go to transform and we'll put in like half, like 12. Or 6 even. We'll just put in 6. Go crazy on this. Let's see if this is right. 6. There we go. And now we're going to mark this part here. This one, this one, this one. Okay. So what we're doing now is we're just marking. Like that. Okay, we can make the selection of polygons like that. All right. Well, if you think maybe there are too many, it's just kind of a question of everybody doing what they want to do, really. Here we've marked this. We can also make a polygroup, like a single poly. Because this makes it so like all of the selections are just polygons. So click and we automatically get a color. Straight up. Good? All right, we're good. Now we want the part on the bottom to be another color. So we're going to make it so this part here disappears. All right. This part here is going to be another color. And as you can see, it's what I've been saying. There are different ways to do this. We're going to hit polygroups, and in this case, we're going to select polygroup border. Okay? Let's see. So first we'd mark it like this. We'd hit it like this. We're gonna do a thing though. We'll do this another way. A single poly and click. And remember that with click and alt held, we're going to look for another color, like this one that's really different. We'll do one here and another one here. All right, like there, down here. Maybe around here. Okay. Like this. Okay, and click. And now we have this here. How will we do this? Common sense. Applying a Polygroup Island. So right click, Polygroup Island. Click. Okay, and there we go. We have this in another color now, okay? All right, so here we can also, obviously, we can use the dropper tool, all right, so to speak. We can grab like a dropper tool. It's not really a dropper tool, but we can use it to copy the color of the polygroup. For example, if we wanted this part down here, or this one even, to be in the same color as this one, we can also do that, all right? We just have to hold shift, okay? As you know, if you've used this program, this activates the smooth, all right? So with shift held, and without letting go, we can click here, and now we let go. And if, for example, we want to copy the green color, right? Well, we hold shift again, we click, and supposedly doing this, we've copied the color. Let's see if this has happened. Sometimes it doesn't work. All right, yeah. So now you can see that this is now in green. So I'm gonna grab this again. Let's see, for example, I just want this part here and this one here too, like this. Okay, like this here. You got to be really careful to make sure you don't leave anything out. So it's important to check out the entire model, as it's really common to accidentally leave something out, and then we would have to go back and forth, which is, yeah, it's annoying. All right. It's annoying to do. Okay. So now we have this part here colored, and now we would just have to click, and there we would have it. So this part here, we can also color it. So click, and there we go. Let's see. Maybe it'd be better if it finished here. I don't know. No, that's good. So remember to make the selection with Alt held, do this, and that way we would do this here too. And now you can click, and there we would have our polygroup colored. Okay. So we have this now. We have 3 materials, which would be orange, green, and purple. And another one, the functions that we have with the polygroups is as follows. With Zmodeler on, we can do a Control, Shift, Alt, okay? And we can get rid of that symmetry. Well, first we're going to save, because it's really important to go along and save in this program. Guys, seriously though, it's really, really important to save. So file, save as, whatever you want to save it as, give it your name. Save your work, okay? Alright, so as I was saying, polygroups are really useful to hide parts. Like, alright, we have Zmodeler on. We can deactivate the symmetry to not make a mess, because if I don't do this, we can't make that selection. And then with Control Shift Alt at the same time, we can click here. See, we can only see now the orange part. In this way, we could work with this part without the other ones getting in the way. So if I move this piece, even if we can't see this other part, we can move it, and then I Control Shift Alt outside of the model and we move it. All right, we're just hiding it, but this doesn't work as a mask. Not exactly, at least, okay? So if, again, I click inside, well, as you can see, we get the other part. Now I can click here, and now you can only see this part. So, well, practice with this because it's really important. Tool and ZBrush. Okay, so if I go outside, remember that I can see all of it. What is this for? Well, here I have the hidden button, okay? Here, because this button is actually in a menu somewhere. But anyway, what it does is eliminate things. So I can tell it that I want to work on the green part. So if I hit Control-Shift-Alt and I can't see the other parts anymore, and we can mark the dual so that we can see all of it. And now I don't want the other part at all, so we go to the hidden, and that way the other part would be completely eliminated. Even if we Control-Shift-Alt, you can see that we cannot modify that, okay? This is another one of the options we have here. All right, let's go back. All right, I think this is looking good. Yeah. Yep. All right, cool. So we could continue onwards with this, okay? Let's color now this part on the bottom. I think we're going to color this one green. Okay, let's do this from here. So symmetry on. Zmodeler 2. All right, careful because sometimes we get this. As you can see, we can't activate Zmodeler right now because we've been using the other thing. And this is all a bit of a mess. So with Shift held, we're going to go here and we're going to click now on the brush we were using originally. So the smooth brush. And now we would have to apply smooth. And now we can select the Zmodeler. And we're going to go along doing what we were doing, okay? Which was the bottom, okay? I want this part, for example, like this. And now, Polygroup Island. And there we go. Okay. Good. So now we have these parts, the polygroups. They're all ready. Would maybe make this purple a little more variable because it looks quite similar. We could put it, for example, on the border. On the edge, sorry. All right. Okay, so now we're going to put this in another color. Remember that it's click, alt, and we just have to look for that color that we want, all right? It doesn't have to be the same necessarily. We can leave it like this if you want, all right? All right. See, even though it looks like it's the same color, it's not the same color as the one on the bottom, all right? Careful with this. It looks like it's the same color, but it's not because then it disappears. Get a color that stands out more. Choose your colors properly. Get a strong magenta. Alright? Strong magentas are strong and good. They'll make you feel better about yourself. I promise you. For example, this part of the inside of the cup as well. Alright? Here, as you can see, it's a whole new world, a whole new process of decorating, all right? And it's something you're in charge of. So I've done like this in the end, so the part inside is another color. Okay, great. We have this bit here done. Now we can hide, as you can see, the polygroups, and it looks like nothing ever happened. The next step would be to start. Once we have the polygroups, well, we could start to add in some details. We're going to subdivide this up to 3, for example. All right, just before, it's always good to duplicate like we did in camera. So this layer, we can duplicate it, we can apply it, and we can put it on solo mode. So this way we only see one grail at all moments, even if we duplicate it. All right, there we go. We've duplicated it. So now we can have like a kind of base of everything we've done before in case something happens, we have to go back. All right, now we're going to go to geometry and we're going to subdivide. For example, up to 4. Okay. And here we can see that the polygroups are still there. No problems at all. Okay. All right, let's go back. Because what we're going to do before we continue is to continue modeling this. I wanted to keep on showing you guys with Zmodeler, like more stuff, but this is probably for the best. Alright, so once we have all this ready, it's really easy to start modeling. What I mean by this is that we're going to continue onwards. So, Q mesh. We'll put in the Q mesh. And then we have a Q mesh. And in this case, for example, we can apply Polygroup Island, okay? We're going to look here, and now you can see that this has changed color. Alright, this isn't much of a problem. We're going to look at these things later on because what I would have done before is explain the polygroups a bit more, but now we're modeling it, so moving on. Alright, we've extruded this. Let's move on with the other one. For example, this one here. Let's see. Let's see. Polygroup. Okay, this one down here too. Let's see, Q mesh. Polygroup Island. Alright, so we're going to change this one first. Like this. This one here. Let's go and put it around here, maybe. And this one down here as well. We could give it like a little bit of volume, you know? Not too much, though. Because we can't really see it. In fact, let's leave it without any volume. That was a useful little segment there. Alright. As you can see, we have these parts done. And now if we hit divide. Can you see we make kind of like an indentation there? Little thing. Alright. Check it out. Now it looks more like it does actually look like more like a grail. Okay, like a bronze thing. Let's go back. We're gonna click this here. Let's see now what else we can do. Okay. We're gonna add in some more details. So I'll leave this part of the course here. We've learned about polygroups and what they're for, and in the next lesson we'll put in more details. My name is Jared Swift. See you guys later. Bye.